Good afternoon, ma'am.
Can you hear me? So we are starting upper limb. So we'll go with osteology first. So let's start with clavicle bone. Okay. So clavicle bone is also called as collarbone, which is situated in the anterior aspect of the thoracic cage. Anybody is having bone with them? I asked you to keep your bones ready. Okay. So when you look at the clavicle, basically clavicle has two ends. Okay. One is sternal end. The one which is towards the sternum is the sternal end. The other end is acromial end, which is articulating with the scapula bone. So it has sternal end and acromial end. Now if you see the curvature of bone, you can see this medial 2/3 is convex anteriorly. It is, please remember, convex anteriorly, and lateral 1/3 is concave anteriorly. Okay, medial 2/3 is convex anteriorly, lateral 1/3 is concave. It is deep, whereas it is like it is projected upwards. Convex is this, which is medial 2/3. Concave is this, which is lateral 1/3. Okay, now. So two ends, sternal end and the acromial end. So sternal end is articulating with which bone? The clavicular notch of the sternum to form the sternoclavicular joint. And the acromial end is articulating with the acromion process of the scapula to form acromioclavicular joint. Okay. Now see, this is sternal end. You can see, I told you medial 2/3 is convex anteriorly. Lateral 1/3 is concave. Okay. Now, see, unless you have bone, that clarity is difficult. If you are having your bones, try to appreciate. Okay. Then, now coming to the features, I'll tell you the bony attachments also once we. Okay. Now, see, it is also called as collarbone. It is long bone, slightly S-shaped. So it is located horizontally, articulates medially with the sternum, and just below this we also have first rib. Okay, the cartilage of first rib. First rib laterally, I told you it is articulating with acromion process of scapula. If you just feel our own clavicle, you can see this is the bone which is subcutaneous. Okay, and it is the only bone which is forming a link between the trunk and upper limb. Okay, that is. Now, the functions of this bone is it is acting as a strut for holding the upper limb far from the trunk so that it can move freely. This allows free swing of upper limb for various prehensile such as holding, catching, such type of movements. It transmits forces from the upper limb to the axial skeleton. Okay, so this upper limb and lower limb will form the appendicular skeleton, and the vertebral column, head and neck, basically it forms the axial skeleton. So it is transferring the forces of upper limb to the midline skeleton, that is axial skeleton. It provides an area for the attachment of muscles. Okay. So now coming to the peculiarities of clavicle. So this is very, very important. So we have around 7 to 8 peculiarities of clavicle which can come as an very short one, 3 marks question. It's the only long bone which is lying horizontally. Basically, when you break long bones, inside the long bone, you will see the medullary cavity. But we are not finding any such medullary cavity here. It is subcutaneous throughout, and it is the first bone to start ossifying between the 5th and 6th weeks of intrauterine life. And it is the last bone to complete its ossification, which is generally completed at the age of 25 years. And it's the only long bone which is ossifying by 2 primary ossification centers. What is the meaning of ossification? Primary ossification center. Primary ossification center is the center which is appearing during intrauterine life. Okay, and basically we have only one ossification center for any bone, but this is the only bone where you will see 2 ossification centers will develop during intrauterine life. Okay, only, and this is the only long bone which ossifies in membrane. Basically we have 2 types of ossifications. No, we have membranous ossification, we have cartilaginous ossification. Initially, suppose if membrane is formed inside the membrane. Suppose if the bony elements are formed, then you call it as membranous ossification. I told you while discussing skull bone, like skull bone is one of the best example of membranous ossification, whereas many long bones, whatever we have, like humerus, radius, ulna, they all have like the initially cartilage is formed and then it gets ossified. So such type of ossification is called as endochondral ossification, also called as cartilaginous ossification. So now this clavicle, it is coming under which category? And this is ossifying in membrane except for its medial end, which may ossify in cartilage. Okay. Then when you look at the bone, if you have bone in your hand, I'll show you in the picture also, there is a whole foramen which is called as the supraclavicular foramen, through which you will see the nerve will be passing through and through. That means it is piercing and coming out. Okay. So it is pierced by this intermediate supraclavicular nerve through and through by, this is one of the cutaneous nerves. So this is, if you read anything or not in the clavicle, this points whatever are displayed here in your PowerPoint, they are very, very important. It's always 3 marks question, or sometimes it may also come as 5 marks question. Okay. Only long bone which is lying horizontally, when you break, there is no bone marrow cavity, that is no medullary cavity, it is subcutaneous, you can feel it. Okay, it is the first bone to ossify in the membrane and last bone to complete its ossification. Okay, and it has 2 primary ossification centers. Okay, and it is ossifying in membrane except for its medial end, and it is pierced by the medial supraclavicular. Middle supraclavicular or intermediate supraclavicular is same meaning. Okay, these are the peculiarities. Now, this is Vishram Singh's picture, which helps us to understand. So the end, see, this is the medial end, also called as sternal end. This end is lateral end, which is also called as acromial end. I told you medial 2/3 is convex anteriorly. Lateral 1/3 is concave anteriorly. And this surface, when you see from above, you call it as superior surface. When you twist the bone and see from below, you call it as inferior surface. When you see from inferior surface towards the sternal end, there is one roughened ridge, which is actually giving attachment to the costoclavicular ligament. I told you medially, like medial end of the clavicle is articulating with which bone? Sternum. Not only sternum, it is also articulating with first rib. Okay, so there you will find there is a connection between the sternum and first rib. You call it as, sorry, clavicle and the first rib, you call it as costoclavicular ligament. This roughened ridge. Which surface you find this roughened ridge? Inferior aspect. Okay. Apart from that, we have groove. Like this is the subclavian groove. The margins of the subclavian groove gives attachment to one important structure. Now, do you remember? Clavipectoral fascia. Okay. Clavipectoral fascia is attached to the margins of the subclavian groove. And what muscle may be attached in the subclavian groove? Subclavius. Subclavius. Okay. So this is in the middle 1/3 of the inferior aspect of the clavicle. Okay. Now, which end is this end?
Acromial.
Acromial. Also called as lateral end. So on the lateral end, which aspect is this?
Inferior.
Inferior. You are seeing from down this whole bone. So on the inferior aspect, you are finding 2 elevations. One is conoid tubercle and the other is trapezoid ridge. Okay. So this is also giving attachment to ligaments which are attaching the clavicle to the scapula. Okay. So now we will see. Now let us see, like this is like superior aspect of the bone and this is inferior aspect of the bone. Now when you see the superior aspect, like you are finding 2 muscles are coming. See, this is, and like what did I say? This is medial 2/3, which is convex anteriorly. So what muscle is coming in the front of the thoracic cage? Both the sides we have pectoralis major. Okay. So this is, you are finding the origin of pectoralis major. And what muscle is this which is running like this? Sternocleidomastoid, isn't it? So the superior aspect of the medial surface of the clavicle is giving attachment to the origin to the sternocleidomastoid. Anteriorly, the anterior aspect of the clavicle in its medial 1/3 part, it's giving origin to pectoralis major. Now coming to lateral 1/3. Lateral 1/3 is concave anteriorly. I said you have two muscles attached. Anteriorly, it is giving attachment to deltoid. This round contour of the
Shoulder.
like shoulder bone, what you are finding here, this round contour is because of this muscle, that is deltoid, where intramuscular injections are given. From where is this muscle coming? It has three origins. Now we are talking about the origin coming from the clavicle. That is from the lateral 1/3 of the clavicle, we have the origin of deltoid. Okay, and it is receiving the insertion of trapezius. Whatever is in blue color, it shows insertion. Okay, superior and the posterior border, it is receiving the insertion of trapezius, trapezium shaped muscle. This is so overall what aspect of this bone is this? What is this aspect we have seen?
Superior.
Superior. Now we will see the attachments on inferior aspect. Now this end is medial end and this end is lateral end. Medial end is articulating with which bone?
Sternum.
And also first rib.
First rib.
Yeah. So here we have the articular facet for the manubrium part of the sternum. And the name of the joint is sternoclavicular joint. The margins of this facet will give attachment to the capsule of sternoclavicular joint. Okay. This articular facet's margin is giving attachment to the capsule of the sternoclavicular joint. Then on the inferior aspect, in the previous picture, we have seen there was one roughened ridge, no? Rough impression. Okay, so I told you we have a ligament there connecting the first rib to the clavicle. First rib to the clavicle. And the name of this ligament is costoclavicular ligament. Okay, and on the inferior aspect, just now I told you we have a groove. What is the name of the groove? Subclavian groove. The margins of the subclavian groove will give attachment to one important structure. What is that?
Clavipectoral fascia.
Very good, clavipectoral fascia. And in the floor of the subclavian groove, we see the insertion of subclavius muscle. Okay, subclavius. Now, deltoid actually you have seen its origin anteriorly, no? The same like antero-inferiorly also you will see the muscle fibers are coming. Okay, then trapezius like posterior, like laterally you are finding the insertion of trapezius. Okay, same thing it is. This is the anterior end, this is the posterior end. When you twist the bone, this becomes the anterior end, this becomes the posterior end of the inferior aspect. So the same muscle is just coming downwards like this, going downwards like this. Okay. Now, which end is this?
Lateral.
Also called as acromial end. Okay, and we know it is articulating with the acromion process to form the acromioclavicular joint, the margins of which is giving attachment to the capsule of acromioclavicular joint. Okay, then like in the previous picture, you have found two bony elevations. One is conoid tubercle and the other is trapezoid ridge. I told you it gives attachment to the ligament which is attaching to the scapula. That is coracoclavicular ligament. When we discuss scapula next, you will see in the scapula bone we have, I will show you, coracoid process is there. So like extending till the coracoid process, we have this ligaments like conoid part and trapezoid part of coracoclavicular ligament. This we will read again when we are doing shoulder joint. And when we are thorough with bones and muscle attachments, if any muscle is asked, origin insertion becomes very easy for you. Okay, that's the reason we cannot start limb without osteology. If you are, this is something like backbone. If you know bones and if you know the muscle attachments, automatically you will know the pectoral region, origin insertion, flexor compartment, extensor compartment of arm, forearm, palm, all are attached to bones only. That's the reason we are going to finish osteology first and then go chapter wise, whatever we will follow Chaurasia's order. Okay. So now see here, lateral end, which is actually it is flat above downwards, it articulates with the medial margin of acromion process. Medial end, it is enlarged and quadrilateral. It is articulating with clavicular notch of manubrium sternum. Shaft is curved. Medial 2/3 is convex forwards. Lateral 1/3 is flattened and concave. Okay. Inferior surface is possessing one groove. No, what is the name of that groove?
Subclave.
Very good, subclavian groove. Okay. Then anatomical position. How to determine? We have to hold the bone horizontally in such a way that its flattened end is on lateral side, beta. Which is the flattened end? I will show you. See, this is the flattened end, lateral 1/3. It should be lateral, and the round conical something like which is cone-like or prism-like area. This is the medial 2/3. Okay, like that you should check. Flattened end is lateral side. Enlarged quadrilateral end is on its medial side. Convexity is medial 2/3, isn't it? Concavity is lateral. It is something like this, beta. Suppose if it is left clavicle, convexity is medial 2/3, concavity is lateral 1/3. Okay, then it has longitudinal groove in the middle 1/3. That is nothing but, as you just said, subclavian groove. Look for subclavian groove that should be pointing inferiorly only. It should not come superior. Okay, and you should see for these elevations like roughened ridges. Roughened things are inferiorly or superiorly? Roughened things. Inferior. Okay, that is. Now lateral end, which is attachment flattened above downwards. It has oval facet. We know it is articulating with acromion to form the acromioclavicular joint. It is giving attachment to fibrous capsule of acromioclavicular joint. Okay. Medial end is also called as sternal end, isn't it? So margins, what is the name of the joint formed here? Sternoclavicular joint. We know the margins are giving attachment to fibrous capsule. Inside the joint, if you remember, temporomandibular joint also has an intra-articular disc. Similarly, here also, the sternoclavicular joint also will have a disc. We will see as we proceed with the further classes. Now try to remember, there is an articular disc inside the joint, and connecting right and left clavicles, there is one ligament which is called as interclavicular ligament. Okay. Anyhow, I have shown you all the muscle attachments. Now coming to ossification. Ossification is, it is partly ossifying in membrane and partly, I told you medial end is ossifying in the cartilage. Rest is all ossifying in the membrane. That's what is written here. But medial end ossifies in cartilage. Rest of the bone is ossifying in membrane. Okay. So this is the first bone to ossify, right? We have primary ossification center beginning for this bone first, right? Now let us see certain ossification points. So how many primary ossification centers we have here? Two. When are they appearing? During intrauterine life? During 5 to 6 weeks. See, two primary ossification centers. This is the peculiarity. No other bone will show two centers. Only clavicle is showing two centers. Okay. So we have two centers which are appearing during 5th or 6th week of intrauterine life, and they fuse by 45th day. Both of them will join. They come close and they become one by 45th day. Secondary centers are the ossification centers which will appear after birth. Okay. The secondary ossification center is appearing for the sternal end at around 19 to 20 years. They may be 2 years earlier in female, that means 17 to 19 years. And they go and completely fuse with the diaphysis, that is by which year? 25th year. Secondary center for acromial end, it is appearing little late, that is 20th year, and it is fusing immediately. Okay, so this is ossification. Okay, then fracture of clavicle. See, the junction of medial 2/3 and lateral 1/3 is the point which is prone for fracture, because the curvature is suddenly changing. From convexity, it has become flat and concave. That's the reason when the person is falling on outstretched hand, there is a risk of fracture of this clavicle at the junction of medial 2/3 and lateral 1/3. Okay, so I will show you what is clavicular dysostosis. Medial and lateral parts of clavicle remain separate due to non-union of two primary centers. That means When you take the X-ray, it looks as though two pieces of clavicle are present, both the sides, because the medial end is not coming and fusing with the diaphysis, lateral end is also not coming and fusing with diaphysis. Okay, that condition is called as clavicular dysostosis. Cleidocranial dysostosis is complete absence of clavicle. That means both the, I will show you, there is a picture. Right clavicle, left clavicle is absent, and person actually can bring the two shoulder tips in the midline. That condition is cleidocranial dysostosis. Okay, it may be also associated with defective ossification of skull bone. We will see these pictures. In the initial slides only I have kept these pictures. You can see better. Cleidocranial dysostosis, you are finding absent clavicle. Okay, here this is the normal clavicle which is subcutaneous. Okay, which we can see in fact, isn't it? But can you see clavicle here? This boy is in fact able to bring the shoulder blades near to the midline. You call this condition as cleidocranial dysostosis. Okay. You can you see the X-ray also here? This is normal X-ray. You can see clavicle is there, but still you are finding like fusion has not occurred here, isn't it, in the midline? At the point of, as though two pieces of clavicle are here, isn't it? Whereas here clavicle is absent, isn't it? What is this condition?
Cleidocranial
dysostosis. Okay. So after this, I will take one more bone. I'll send you the link again.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, immediately.